What's up, guys? Joe Chavarria here, back with another episode of the Joe Credit Show. Today, we're going to talk about how to improve your credit in 2021. Now, I know I'm a couple weeks short on New Year's resolutions, new year, new me, all that good stuff. I know 2020 was kind of crazy, a lot of stuff to deal with, but now that's sort of out of the way. We are now focused on 2021 and onward. So if you got some credit score goals, if improving your credit has been one of your New Year resolutions or things to do, things to improve or things to accomplish this year, then we're going to talk about that today in this video. Got 5 topics, 5 areas to touch on, a bunch of different tips, but about 5 components we're going to touch on things you can do to improve your credit in 2021. So before we dive into my laundry list of things to do, or your to-do list, or the honey-do list, we need to break down, first get into why I'm even recommending these things. And let's start there. So the reason why I'm recommending these things that I'm getting ready to recommend is because we need to start off with breaking down a FICO score. So if we're going to talk about improving your credit score, we need to understand what is baked into a credit score, what components make up a credit score. So we have 5 main components that make up a FICO score. You got payment history, which is the largest component of your credit score. That's 35%. You got utilization or credit card balances or balances. That's 30% of a FICO score. You have credit length or length of history, which is 15% of a credit score. Then you have mix of credit, which is 10% of a credit score. And then the final 10% will be new credit, also known as inquiries. So now that we have broken down a FICO score, all of those components will make up 100% of a FICO score. Let's break down each individual component and talk about different things you can do under that component to begin raising your credit score in that category. And if you do everything correctly overall, you should see a pretty good increase, good overall improvement to your credit score in 2021. Because it doesn't take forever. It's not going to take 3 years. It's not going to take 5 years. Within a year, you can accomplish quite a bit to improve your credit a great deal. So let's set yourself a goal that by December 2021, you want to have X number score, whether it's 700, 750, 800, whatever it may be. Let's follow some of these principles and do what we need to do to get there. Okay, so let's talk about payment history for the first one. That's 35% of the FICO score. So if let's kind of put our foot down and say, moving forward, I would never miss a payment moving forward. Make that one of your goals. Never miss a payment moving forward. So some things you can do to help you never miss a payment is set up auto pay on certain accounts. So, if you have credit cards, you have just all your expenses. I would even recommend one day, set some time aside, take an hour or 2 out of your day, look at your bank account, look at your finances, really break down what are your expenses on a monthly basis, put them on a calendar, whatever it is to help you keep track of them. Okay, set some alerts on your phone, whatever it may be. I would even recommend putting all those monthly payments on auto pay. And to take it a step further, if you have direct deposit with your company, if you have direct deposit set up, which most of us do, I would recommend setting up a separate bank account, probably with your same bank. You can set up another checking account and make that like your expense account. And so your direct deposit that's coming in, you can get with HR or payroll within your company and tell them, hey, I want X amount of my check to go into this account, and I want the remainder to go in this account. Like, have 2 different accounts, one for all your expenses, and maybe the other one for like play money, right? This is just like your play money, your entertainment. If you go out to dinner, if you go to the movies, if you do things with friends, have like a little play money account. This is the money you can spend freely without having to worry about anything. And the other account is all your expenses. So get with your payroll department and say, hey, look, I want 50% or 80%, however much your expenses are per month, going into this one checking account and everything else going to this one. Okay, and I would even recommend getting a debit card for that other checking account for the expense account, so you can help do auto pay, but never have access to that debit card, or maybe just tuck it away somewhere where you're not going to be able to use it. Put it somewhere safe and secure and never use it. Just set everything up on auto pay, just have it there. So that's one way to help never miss a payment moving forward, and to just help yourself never miss a payment in case you're forgetful. that kind of thing to really help avoid all of that. Then I would also recommend pulling a credit report. Okay, pull a credit report on yourself, because if you have some late payments in the past, there may be something you can do to get some of those late payments removed from your credit report, and that's only going to help your payment history component of your score. So pull a credit report up until about April. I believe that's when the CARES Act is set to expire. And so with the CARES Act, right now you can go to annualcreditreport.com and get a copy of your credit report once per week per bureau for free. It used to be once per year per bureau for free. Now with COVID and with the CARES Act, you can get a credit report from annualcreditreport.com for free once per week per credit bureau. So you can go there, get a free credit report from each individual credit bureau, look at your payment history, and go back about 4 years and look for accounts that you have open or have had open in the past that are now closed, and look at the payment history. Look to see if you're ever reported 30 days late or 60 days late or even 90 days late. Those are the ones you want to really focus in on. And if you have an open account, for example, let me back up a little bit. Looking at those missed payments, if something looks off to you, it doesn't look accurate, or if you check your online payment confirmations and you say, I was not 30 days late on that particular month, according to this record that I have, that I paid this, like I was late, but I was not 30 days late, then you have a little bit of evidence there to use to dispute that account with that company, with that credit card company or that bank or even the credit bureau, and say, hey, look, here's proof that I was not 30 days late. I was reported 30 days late. That's clearly inaccurate. I want this late payment removed and gone as soon as possible, right? So go through your credit report, go back and look for any late payments that may or may have not been true and accurate. Another thing too is, let's say that there are some late payments that are accurate and the account is open, and you have like maybe one 30-day late payment in the last like 24 months. Even if you have multiple, but let's just say you have just a few, focus on the most recent one. I would recommend contacting your credit card company. I know Community Bank has this, Capital One has this. A couple credit card companies have an internal policy where they'll give you a one-time courtesy removal of a late payment. So best thing to do, if you notice that you have like one 30-day late payment in the last 24 months, pick up the phone, call that credit card company and ask for that one-time courtesy removal. And I would frame it this way. I would say, hey, look, I'm getting ready to apply for a mortgage. I've been approved, but I'm not getting the best interest rate. And the reason why I'm not getting the best interest rate is because of this one late payment. I've been good ever since. I've never missed a payment. It was just an oversight. Clearly, I learned from my lesson. It's a mistake that I don't want to live with the rest of my life. It's really hurting my ability to get a good interest rate on this mortgage. And I really need to get this house. Can you do a one-time courtesy removal? I'd be so grateful. I'd be really appreciated. I haven't been late ever since, and I'll continue to never be late moving forward. Kind of frame it from that position. The worst thing they can say is no. You're right. It wouldn't change anything. Right now you have it. You have the late payment reported, right? So if they say no, you're in the same boat. So that's the worst thing they can say. Best thing they can say is, you know what? Yeah, we can do that for you. We'll go and do that. You've been a great customer. We'll go ahead and get that one-time credit. You want that one-time late payment removed from your credit report. That'll bump up your score quite a bit. So a lot of people never think to do this, but do it. Pick up the phone. You're gonna, yeah, sure, it's gonna suck having to stop doing what you're doing to pick up the phone and make a couple calls, but it's gonna be worth it if you're able to get that outcome that you're looking for. And another thing too to that is that if you don't get the result you're looking for, if you're not able to get that one-time courtesy removal done with that one person, you may have to call back a couple times. I would even recommend calling back 3 times if the person you talk to sounds like they really weren't sure, because a lot of times Capital One, for example, they don't really talk about this internal policy that they have for removal. So a lot of the newbies that have been working there at Capital One in the call center may not know about it, but some of the veterans that have been there 4, 5, 6 years or longer, they're aware of the policy. They know how to do it. They know how to handle that. And so sometimes you want to call back to speak to someone that that's been working at that company for a little bit longer, basically not a newbie. So be sure to do that. Spend some time doing that, and it really would benefit you to get a couple of those late payments removed from a couple of accounts, and that'll really help boost your credit score. So that's payment history. Those are all things you can do under payment history to improve your payment history. Now let's talk about balances. Let's talk about credit card balances. So make yourself a goal this year. So goal number 1, never miss a payment moving forward. Goal number 2, bring my credit card balances down between 1% and 7%. So what I mean by that, 1% to 7%, what I mean is, let's say you have a credit card that has a credit limit of $1,000. Well, 1% to 7% of $1,000 is 10 to 70 bucks. So that's really where you want your credit card balances each and every month before the statement close date. So you have your due date, you have your statement date. The statement close date is generally the date that the credit card company will report that information to the credit bureaus, or they'll basically report whatever information you have on your credit on the statement close date to the credit bureau. So you really want to make sure you get that credit card balance paid down between 1% and 7% before the statement close date. That way, that 1% to 7% balance is what gets reported, not the higher balance. So stop using your credit cards. If you're focused on paying off your debt this year and getting your credit cards paid down, it doesn't help you to continue using your credit cards. So I would recommend to stop using your credit cards, go to debit cards or go to cash, or whatever other form of currency they're using these days, but really avoid using your credit cards for purchases to kind of help you get your credit card balances paid down. Another thing you can do is call your credit card company up and ask them to review your account, ask for an account review to see if you're eligible for a credit limit increase. With the economy and all that, maybe the answer is going to be no, but it doesn't hurt to ask and see what they do. Worst case, they can say, you weren't approved for a credit limit increase. Many of the credit card companies that do this, they're not going to check your personal credit. They're not going to do a hard inquiry. Many of them just review your account, and they may do a soft inquiry on your credit, not a hard one, and that's okay. And if they can increase your credit limit a little bit, that's going to help give you some breathing room, and that's going to help decrease your utilization, which is going to improve this category of your credit score. I would also, under your balances category of your credit, I would avoid getting any high loans, like any personal loans or auto loans. Like, try to avoid any major debt purchases right now, many consumer debt purchases if you can. If you have to, get a new car, I get it, but try to find some alternatives to that. Try to avoid taking on some big personal loans right now to help keep this category healthy in 2021, and so you can keep your balances and your debt down, overall. Now, if you don't have any credit cards, you don't have any open credit, then I would recommend to get a secured credit card. I would recommend to start there and unlock this component of your credit score, because if you don't have any open revolving credit, then you're really missing out big time from this component of your credit score. So I would recommend to get a secured credit card. Open Sky Visa has one, Capital One has one. There's plenty of different companies. I wouldn't recommend First Premier. If anyone works there or is watching this, hey man, you guys charge a lot of fees, and it's really, really hard to get to deal with your company, and so I don't recommend it. If you change your ways, perfect, happy to recommend. But for now, I'm recommending other companies for secured credit cards. Get yourself a secured credit card. Still start building credit. Keep your balances low. Follow the same rules that I mentioned earlier, but get yourself a secured credit card. Last but not least, add yourself to an authorized user account. So if your wife or your husband has a large credit limit account with a low balance, add yourself to their account. Of course, you have to call the company to do that, but make that happen. Maybe a close family member, a relative, immediate family member that can add you to their credit card as an authorized user, and you can get that information reported on your credit report. Is another way to help with the balances. Also, balance transfer is another one. So if you have a couple credit cards with balances, but you have a couple zero balances on some other accounts, look at some balance transfers. Maybe look into moving some balances over to those other ones to kind of spread it around, because when your FICO score is calculated, they're looking at your overall balances, but they're also looking at individually, and you're scored based on your individual accounts as well. So maybe spread it around a little bit, spread that debt around to some other accounts to really help improve that component of your credit score. All right, we're coming down to the wire. Last three components. Number 3, length of history. So length of history, again, is 15% of your credit score. And these last three, by the way, can be very simple, very, very quick. So length of history, again, 15% of your score. What you can do in 2021. Number 3 is don't close out any accounts. So if you have open accounts, you've had it open for a long period of time, you don't want to close them, because you're going to, 1, lose that credit limit, and 2, you're going to decrease your length of history. So don't close out any accounts. If you have any dormant accounts, what I mean by that is, let's say you have a credit card that you haven't used for a period of time, then you want to make sure that you go ahead and use that account, charge something to it. Typically, if a credit card goes unused, sometimes for a year or two, sometimes 6 months, more so 1 to 2 years. If it's unused for 1 to 2 years, kind of dormant, then that credit card company may go ahead and close that account themselves to basically avoid any unnecessary credit out there, any necessary risk that the way they see it. And so you want to avoid that by using that account sporadically or every 6 months to a year to keep that account from closing out. So if you have any dormant accounts right now, then you want to make sure you make a plan in the near future to go ahead and use that account to keep it from being closed. Fourth component would be mix of credit. Again, that's 10% of your score. Mix of credit, this just means FICO just like to see how you mix up accounts. So if you have a bunch of installment loans or a bunch of personal loans, get a couple credit cards. If you have, a bunch of credit cards, no mortgage, no auto, you want to buy a house, that'll help. Make it a goal to buy a house sometime this year. If you need a car, make it a goal to get a car by the end of the year. I wouldn't recommend it right now, but by the time you're done with your goals and your game planning to raise your credit score, and you need a vehicle, maybe get yourself a little car at the end of the year. And if you follow these principles, then your score should be much higher, and then you get a better deal, better interest rate, so on and so forth. So usually the best time to buy a car too, by the way, is the last month of the year, because they have all kinds of deals, all kinds of closeout specials. You don't want to do it too soon, probably do it towards the end of the year anyway. Fourth component of your score fourth component of your score, fourth thing you can do. Actually, this is the final one. I just realized I just miscounted, but the final one, new credit inquiries. This is pretty simple. Make it a goal to not apply for credit unless you need it. Don't apply for credit just aimlessly. Know whether or not you're going to get approved. I have a video where I'm talking about this. When to apply for credit cards, how often is too much. But try to limit yourself on the number of hard inquiries over the next 12 months. Hard inquiries are scored for the first 12 months. They're on your credit report for 24, but they're only scored for the first 12. So avoid unnecessary hard inquiries. Limit yourself to 3 hard inquiries every 6 months if you can. And last but not least, I would recommend reviewing your credit report just like you would on the payment history, but review your hard inquiries. And if you see anything on there that looks suspicious, looks like it, maybe you didn't really authorize, maybe it was a verbal conversation, but you don't remember signing something, giving a company permission to run your credit, maybe you want to dispute that hard inquiry, try to get that hard inquiry removed from your credit report. And if it is, that'll maybe add a couple points to your score, as well. So that is my time today. I hope you liked this information. If you did, give me a thumbs up on this video. Would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you have any questions or any thoughts, let me know what you think, or let me know what your questions are in the comment section below. Also, if you want to stay up to date on credit information, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Last but not least, if you are wanting to take your credit to the next level, if you really would want a professional to look at your credit report, guide you through this process, maybe hire them for some credit repair, maybe you have some negative items on your report like collections, charge-offs, things like that, then those can kind of get handled a different way, and you want to have an expert do that, go to my website, go to joechavarria.com/links. It'll be in the description or in my bio. Check out that link, go to joechavarria.com/links, and there'll be an option there to schedule a no-risk, completely free credit evaluation so you can have one of my team members review your credit report professionally. They'll tell you exactly what you can do to repair your credit, how to go about it, and of course what they would do as well. So you kind of have an idea at least, what to do if you were to do it yourself, or you can hire them to do all the legwork for you, save you the time, save you the headache, save you the hassle. They'll just go ahead and do all the heavy lifting for you. So again, go to joechavarria.com/links. It'll be in the description or in my bio. Check that out. Other than that, I want to thank you for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. This has been another episode of the Joe Credit Show. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Take care.